I'm sorry, you're fired. Get out of here. Right?
He's probably the most disliked politician in the world in Canada because he's attacked his closest family member, and that's the way we look upon it. And when I talk to the governors and senators and Congress people, even Republicans totally disagree, but they're too scared to come out and say anything because the president will go after them, outside of a few senators. And I want to thank them for coming out and standing with not just American people, but their closest friends and allies, which is Canada.
Hey gang, what's up? Aaron right here, Canadian Looney. We're going to have the Premier of Ontario, and he's like Fred Flintstone of politics. This guy, Doug Ford, calls himself a conservative. He talks hard like a conservative, but all of his policies are liberal. He's going to be interviewed here by CNN, and man, the CBC is bad, CNN might be worse. Let's take a peek.
Hey, that's something everyone can enjoy.
President Trump's trade war with American allies. Tariffs on imported goods are now at their highest levels since the Great Depression. Products from Mexico and Canada are exempt from those duties if and only if they comply with the U.S.-Mexico-Canada Free Trade Agreement. Otherwise, Mexican imports face 25% tariffs, while Canadian goods face 35%. Joining us now is the Premier of Ontario, Doug Ford. Premier Ford, thanks so much for joining us. As you know, President Trump negotiated the agreement with Canada and Mexico during his first term to replace NAFTA, the North American Free Trade Agreement. You say, and now he could suddenly, all of a sudden, open up the USMCA. What makes you think that?
Well, first of all, I start off every interview with saying how much we love Americans, how much we love the U.S., and as I've said on this show many times, that a tariff on Canada is a tax on the American people. And as you've seen, the study from Yale, it's going to cost Americans $2,400. Manufacturing employment in the U.S., there's over 37,000 people since April have lost their jobs. It's the lowest rate in 5 years, and it's just not working. Let's create the AmCan Fortress. Two strongest countries in the world. Again, this is hurting the American people as the rest of the countries, including Canada, is diversifying our trade. We're seeing a 25% increase in trade with European Union. The UK is up by 30%. So as we're diversifying and onshoring products, the American people are losing their jobs.
What would the impact be for Canada and for the U.S. if President Trump pulled out of that agreement?
Well, it would be unfortunate. We directly employ, just Ontario alone, 9 million Americans, and across the entire country of Canada, it's probably closer to 20 million Americans rely on Canada for jobs, and vice versa. We rely on jobs with trade with the U.S., but it's just hurting both countries. And as we're diversifying and the rest of the world's diversifying, onshoring products that are typically made in the U.S., no matter if it's aluminum cans or tins or steel beams, we're onshoring everything. We're very, very concerned with the actions of the Trump administration. And, President Trump and Secretary Lutnick, they're smart guys. Like, they understand numbers. And when you see 37,000 Americans have lost their jobs, that can't pay the rent or can't pay a mortgage, put food on their table, and this is just going to grow even more. $6.2 billion in tariff-related costs to the auto sector, and that's going to increase. So the auto workers are going to be losing their jobs.
So how is Canada, Premier Ford, preparing for that possibility now? Have you warned your Prime Minister, Mark Carney, that Canada needs to take action?
Absolutely, and we're doing it as we speak right now. We're onshoring manufacturing jobs that typically are American jobs. We have a market here that we can sustain it, and we're lowering taxes. We're making sure we're competitive for companies to come and invest in Canada. Ontario alone last year attracted over $40 billion of investment, creating more jobs, more opportunities. I would much rather, work with our greatest ally and closest friend and increase jobs in both countries, and we can do that. we'd be the two strongest nations in the world economically. That's our goal. But unfortunately, President Trump doesn't want to go down that avenue. He wants to hurt the American people, and that's exactly what he's doing.
Do you know when Prime Minister Carney of Canada is next scheduled to speak with President Trump?
I'd imagine over the next few days, Wolf, but we're going to continue the dialogue and communication to the best of our ability.
You know, it's strange to me. Trump has repeatedly said over these past several months that he wants Canada, our neighbor in the north, to become a 51st state of the United States. He hasn't said that, though, in a while. Do you still worry about his rhetoric on that front?
No, I'm not worried about that because that's never going to happen. We'll be your closest ally and closest friend for forever, as we have been for 200 years. And we will outlast the Trump administration, and we'll continue working with our great American partners.
What's the general impression of Trump in Canada?
He's probably the most disliked politician in the world in Canada because he's attacked his closest family member, and that's the way we look upon it. And when I talk to the governors and senators and Congress people, even Republicans totally disagree, but they're too scared to come out and say anything because the president will go after them, outside of a few senators. And I want to thank them for coming out and standing with not just American people, but their closest friends and allies, which is Canada. And again, we love the Americans. It's unfortunate President Trump decided to go down this road.
And just to be totally transparent, as someone who grew up on the U.S.-Canada border in beautiful Buffalo, New York, I love Canada as well. I love the Canadians and always have. The Ontario Premier, Doug Ford, as usual, thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you.
Oh, yeah. Gang, what do you think? Is Doug Ford just shooting off his mouth, or is he helping Canada? Do you think barking at Trump like that is going to help? Maybe it will. I tend to think that it would not. Let me know in the comments what you think of Doug Ford. We'll catch you in the next video. Thank you very much for watching this one. Man, these Trump tariffs gotta go, but that's not the way to get rid of them. Catch you in the next video.
Hi, everyone. Congratulations, you're spending more money on taxes than on food, clothing, and shelter combined.
Happy birthday. A few days short. A little bit. A few days short, but didn't have a chance to see you on the day.
Reticent to
because
talk
I'm
about
a good
that.
because I'm a good negotiator. I have negotiated a number of situations in the past. I know how to manage crises.
I'm sorry, you're fired. Get out of here. Right? The one we call Canadians.